What's up, internet friends, founders, and the Entree Pro Curious? You've made it, and you're here. It's Venture Daily with me, Peter Saddington. What's up, guys? I hope you're having a wonderful Monday morning, whether you're on the commute or you're just listening to me in the background. I am glad to be part of your day. We have a great show for you. We're going to be talking about three particular articles, which are really intriguing. The first and foremost of which is, did you know that there's going to be a potential future? Yes. A potential future in which you hail an Uber, and when you hail that Uber, the car is going to drive up and nobody's in there. Yes, Uber is testing self-driving cars, and they've been given licensure to do so. Interesting. The second thing we're going to be talking about today is an intriguing one that might not be too sexy to talk about, but it's LinkedIn CEO. After 11 years of being CEO of LinkedIn, he's stepping down, Jeff Weiner. What does this mean for LinkedIn? Can LinkedIn finally become the social network that it was supposed to be? You know, I have strong opinions, I guess, about LinkedIn and the value, but then again, I don't get that much value out of LinkedIn other than reading articles, which the articles there aren't that good. So we'll talk about that. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about light bulbs. Yes, you probably heard of this before, but light bulbs are listening to you. They are listening to you, my friends. Yeah, that's right. There's a potential hacking opportunity in your light bulbs. They might be listening to you and maybe even watching you. However, I don't know how they'd watch you. That's in today's Venture Daily, guys. And then we're going to be talking about, we're not going to be going into venture deals today. We're collecting them up for tomorrow. But then we're going to be talking in the final word today, and we're just going to be an encouragement, guys. Just an encouragement for you guys. That's all that we're covering today in Venture Daily. First up, Uber issued a permit to use self-driving cars on public California roads. Well, if I was out there in California, I would be wary. Uber's Advanced Technologies Group has been issued a permit that would allow the company to put its autonomous vehicles back on public roads in California nearly 2 years after the company scaled back its testing following a fatal crash in Arizona that killed a pedestrian. You guys might remember that. Uber doesn't have immediate plans to put its autonomous vehicles on public roads in San Francisco, where it was previously testing. The company says it will notify key local, state, and federal stakeholders before it returns to the city. San Francisco is a great city to gather key learnings for self-driving technology, given its complex and ever-changing environment. While we do not exactly have an update as to exactly when we'll resume autonomous testing, receiving our testing permit through the California DMV is a critical step towards that end in Uber's home city. The permit, which is issued by the California Department of Motor Vehicles, is the latest step by Uber's self-driving unit to ramp up a program that appeared destined to end just 18 months ago. Uber ATG ended all testing on public roads after one of its vehicles struck and killed pedestrian Elaine Hertzberg in the Phoenix suburb of Tempe. Uber ATG was testing its self-driving vehicles in the Phoenix area, Toronto, Pittsburgh, and San Francisco. At the same time, the company let go all of its 100 of its self-driving car operators in Pittsburgh and San Francisco, and rumors circulated that the company wanted to sell its self-driving unit. Uber ATG resumed in December on-road testing of its self-driving vehicles in Pittsburgh following the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation's decision to authorize the company to put its autonomous vehicles on public roads. Uber has also started mapping Washington, D.C. ahead of plans to begin testing its self-driving vehicles in the city this year. Initially, there will be 3 Uber vehicles mapping the area, said the company spokesperson. These vehicles, which have said to be manually driven and have 2 trained employees inside, will collect sensor data and using a top-mounted sensor wing equipped with cameras and a spinning lidar. It's called a lidar or lidar? Radar? The data will be used to build high-definition maps. The data will also be used for Uber's virtual simulation and test track testing scenarios. Uber intends to launch autonomous vehicles in Washington, D.C. before the end of 2020. Well, this is an intriguing advancement. I thought that after the Arizona tests, I vaguely I vaguely remember them from a couple years ago, or I guess 18 months ago of sorts. I had this sneaking premonition that it wasn't going to really work out. The reason is there's just too many variables in these cities. People jumping out, pedestrians, just random cyclists and random motor vehicles and people doing crazy stuff in cities. Trash. Who knows? Who knows? The crazy person on the side of the street. I just never saw that as a real reality. But as we're seeing, they're continuing to make testing of these autonomous vehicles, and they're moving forward. So, is the future coming into reality today? I don't know. I'll tell you this. Since I'm in here in Atlanta, ain't no way, especially with the Atlanta traffic, that I'm getting in a driverless car to take me somewhere. At least, not yet. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get into this one. This is an interesting one that really grabbed my attention. LinkedIn Jeff Weiner, CEO, steps down after 11 years. Yes, is it finally time for a change of LinkedIn? The last 3.5 years haven't been so great for social media platforms. They've been accused of fomenting genocide, breaking Western democracies, and abetting mass shooters, probably mostly on tweeters. The CEOs have sweated in front of Congress, meditated deep in forests, and deleted the very apps that made them billionaires. Amid this drama, Jeff Weiner, the CEO of LinkedIn, has been like a man whistling as he bikes safely beside the century's craziest car crash. His company has quietly grown, gained influence, and avoided acrimony. The worst that people generally say is that it's been, pleasantly boring, and I would agree. So it's fitting that on Wednesday, Weiner is stepping into a new role in a calm, sensible transition, seemingly designed to make as few waves as possible. He's announcing that after 11 years of running the company, he will be becoming executive chair in June. His replacement will be Ryan Rolansky, a senior vice president of product at the company, who is the first person Weiner hired. Tomer Cohen, another VP of product, gets Rolansky's role. It's all very ordered. Asked how he planned to alter Weiner's vision of the company, Rolansky said that actually he was fully on board with Weiner's vision. Is that a vision of boredom and a vision? I mean, let's be honest, guys. LinkedIn has become less like corporate-y, which I always thought was kind of the original impetus and design and purpose of it. And I'm seeing stuff that you would see on Facebook, like cats and food, and worst of all, politics.
Nope.
I don't want to see politics in that. But maybe some of you guys like reading politics in LinkedIn. I just never saw LinkedIn as a political place.
Nope.
Weiner, for his part, somehow explained his departure as a result of too much love for his current job. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, that's a very PC way of saying that there might be undercurrents that we're just never going to be told about. It just felt like the right time. I had always thought to myself that I'd be in the role for as long as I was happy, and then I realized I love this place so much, and our sense of purpose, our vision, has become so intrinsically linked with my own sense of purpose, he said. LinkedIn was a network, but it wasn't really social until Weiner started it in 2008. It was mainly just a job board. You created an account, buffed up your career history, connected your address book, and then forgot about it. Mine got deleted. But gradually, largely through projects that Rolansky oversaw, it evolved into a platform with different communities. People post essays and updates. Recruiters scour the resume pile. Marketers post their ads. And yes, occasionally, jerks get it confused with Tinder. That's pretty much been my experience. And actually, if I can make a segue, there's an article that I'm thinking about reading and going over with you guys. It's an article about how to hook up with people using LinkedIn. Has LinkedIn jumped the shark, guys? Maybe. Throughout, the company's origins shaped its tone and culture. People's identities were tied to their resumes, which I don't necessarily think is a great idea, which meant that they acted like their bosses were always looking. This decreases racist shitposting and increases the colloquial use of PowerPoint cliches. Microsoft doesn't offer many details about LinkedIn's finances, but apparently it's growing steadily. According to the company's most recent financial report, LinkedIn's revenues grew from $1.7 billion, that's with the B guys, in fourth quarter of 2018 to $2.1 billion in the last quarter of 2019. The generous way to put it that is the revenue increased by almost 25%. The less generous way to put it is that Microsoft still earns slightly more revenue off Bing. Weiner says simply, the company has never been stronger. In his new job as executive chair, Weiner says he wants to work on a project that he discussed in depth at the Wired 25 conference this past fall, changing LinkedIn so that it doesn't reinforce network bias. Ooh, I'm interested. A platform that offers everyone's resume to everyone else should theoretically democratize work. But over the last few years, Weiner has become deeply worried about the ways his platform reinforces biases. It's easy to connect on the platform with people who went to the same school as you or have friends in common. But this kind of makes a lot of logical sense. Wouldn't you want to connect with them? To whom much is given, even more will be given still. There's no topic that seems to inspire Weiner more, and he is happy to detail his company's efforts to the reverse of the bias. For one, it now eagerly connects people in nonprofit organizations with people on the platform. If you volunteer for the Boys and Girls Club, LinkedIn will make it easy for members of the organization to connect with you. The company also puts users on Take the +1 pledge and bring people outside their network inside. And perhaps most importantly, the company now requires that engineers check whether algorithmic changes are made, who might benefit disproportionately, and who might be harmed in an unintentional way. How do you make sure that people are not harmed in an unintentional way? Probably it's really hard because it's unintentional. Is this 1984 and censorship of speech? Is that where we're going, Mr. Weiner? It's an important project and not an easy one, reflected perhaps in the fact that Weiner himself has just chosen his closest colleague as the next CEO. And according to Weiner, it's likely to be his central ambition as he moves into the executive chair's role. The ideal, he said, would be that we can make these vicious cycles and turn them into virtuous ones, which isn't bad ambition for a social network, even one that's mostly ordered and calm. Well, that's intriguing. So he wants to enable people to have less network bias, which is a fancy way of saying he doesn't want you only connecting with people that you kind of want to connect with within the same market, same interests, same demographic, and same career, and probably same corporate experience, which, I mean, in many ways, if you are a professional and you have a career trajectory, generally you want to hang out with people that are in your market, in your segment, doing that type of work, or people that can help you get to the next level of that trajectory or that career path. I don't find, if I'm very career oriented, I don't find that connecting with nonprofits that are completely non-contextually relative to what I'm trying to do could actually be helpful. It actually is probably going to create more static. You see, one of the things that completely turned me off of LinkedIn over the past years, a couple years ago, I had my LinkedIn deleted. Let's go back to news chat here. And one of the reasons why I quit LinkedIn is because the news feed was just filled with crap, like literally crap. I became promiscuous in my acceptance of connections, and I had, what's the max that you can see on LinkedIn? 5,000, I think, something like that. So I had 5,000 plus. And all these people that I accepted invitations from are dropping stuff about cats, about politics, about sports, about everything that I didn't care about. And it eventually became this wasted feed of nonsense. And so I had it deleted because it was just no longer providing value. Now, if you can find me on LinkedIn if you'd like. You can go to linkedin.com/in/Peter Saddington if you'd like to find me and add me, and that's okay. But I've pretty much curated my content on LinkedIn to just a couple sentences. I really just use it to read articles sometimes because you have to log in to read articles. And in reality, my network is really outside LinkedIn. Or maybe I'm just not the user they're looking for. So I'm curious, if you're out there and you're listening and you have the opportunity to comment, leave a comment below. Let me know if you're using LinkedIn and what you see is the value of LinkedIn. Because right now, to be quite frank, I just don't see any value. Let's get into our last news bit of the day. Yet another joy of the smart home. Light bulbs are at risk from hackers. Yeah, but you already knew this. If your light bulbs blink twice, that may be them trying to tell you that they're under duress. Can you believe this, guys? If your light bulb blinks at you, they're being attacked. Like, this could be a real thing. Clearly, I think it's going to be a real thing. A vulnerability reported Wednesday by security firm Check Point could allow that to happen, along with hacks of other smart home gadgets that employ the same widely used underlying Zigbee wireless protocol. That's could instead of will, because Signify, the company behind the Philips-branded line of Hue smart bulbs, already patched the flaw in a firmware of the bridge-based stations required by many of those connected lights. But if they patched it, how can they patch those light bulbs if you've already bought them and you've already installed them and you don't have a smart home? And since the Hue mobile apps come preset to install updates automatically, the patch should already be on every Hue bridge. Question answered. Maybe I should have remembered what it was going to say. Does that make this feel-good security story? Not really. The vulnerability documented by Tel Aviv-based Check Point Software Technologies relies on a common attack technique, and too many Internet of Things gadgets don't come with automatic software updates. Check Point isn't singling out any other devices as being vulnerable, but the list of Zigbee certified hardware is long indeed. A video posted by Check Point shows how it can work. As eerie music plays, the Hue bulb in a house starts changing colors, going on and off on its own, a sign that the attacker has exploited the flaw in an unpatched bridge to seize control. Now, what are they going to do? Blink you to death? The attacker uses the infected bridge to take over a Windows 7 laptop plugged into it. I'm inside your home network and I can do whatever I want, sums up Yaniv Abalmas, head of cyber research at Check Point. The attacker does not need to be inside a home or office or even on the same wireless network as a target. Instead, connecting to a special antenna on a laptop from as much as 330 feet away can allow breaking into the Zigbee radio frequency communications between the bridge and Hue bulbs. Zigbee is a complex protocol, says Balmas. The problem, as always, is with the implementation. I have heard that so many times as a software engineer. It's not what we've built, it's how you install it. In this case, Check Point found that the buffer overflow attack sufficed to get hostile code running on a Hue bridge. This is a common technique in which the attacker sends an unexpected amount of data to a program expecting input of a particular size. Some newer Hue smart bulb kits don't require a bridge. This bug does not appear to affect them. But this is an old problem, guys. Like, this is a problem that we've heard about for a long time. We're really just talking about new targets here. The same basic buffer overflow load tactic allowed the Heartbleed vulnerability that left holes in the security of a large fraction of websites online almost 6 years ago. Holy crap, I forgot about that. No, developers haven't learned to close that hole, as Balmas puts it. Buffer overflows are everywhere. The last check of the attack shown in the Check Point video, the remote compromises the laptop, relies on an older bug, and the Eternal Blue vulnerability behind the WannaCry ransomware outbreak of 2017. So they use old tech. The laptop in the clip ran Windows 7 because Windows 10 defeats the attack, as should a Windows 7 machine that's been kept currently with Microsoft security patches on, something that many users generally fail to do. Check Point credited Signify for responding promptly and professionally to its report, resulting in a firmware update being pushed out to Hue Bridge users on January 23rd. The release notes for the patch, however, betray a common failing of the software industry by providing no useful information about their contents. They read in full, "We regularly update your Hue Bridge to improve the performance and reliability of the system." That's it. I guess you should update all your systems then. Signify, spun off from Philips in 2016 to focus on lighting technology, did not respond to an email inquiry sent to publicists Monday night about the vague release notes. But it has far too much company in the habit of not documenting security patches, in effect inviting users to put off installing what appears to be non-critical updates. When Twitter patched a vulnerability in its Android app that it considered severe enough to warrant an email to users, the release notes for the December 20 bug fix read, "We made improvements and squashed bugs, so Twitter is even better for you." Maybe that's not enough. Check Point's Balmas agrees. They should be more clear with their customers about exactly what was found. They should. Transparency is really important. If there's a bug, if there's an issue, if there's a security risk, the consumer should know, and not just be said, "Hey, we updated stuff, make sure that you update. Maybe there should be a more, let's just say, emotional or evocative message that should be given, like, hey, your shit's really, your light bulbs are risk for attack. Maybe you should update the software. That would get me going. But at least Signify responded correctly to Checkpoint's report and had already instituted an automatic updates policy. To see if your Hue bridge had been patched, open up the Hue app and tap settings and then software update. Well, thank you. That company also documents a vulnerability disclosure policy, a key step many gadget vendors fail to take that can leave security researchers unclear on how to communicate their findings to the right people. Many other IoT vendors probably aren't exercising as much care. Quote, we can possibly research each and every device, warns Balmas. If you ask me if other devices suffer from the same or similar vulnerability, my answer will be probably yes. So this is a consumer report out to all of you guys who are starting to use smart light bulbs and IoT smart homes, connected homes. If you're into that world, make sure that you update all your software. I, for one, haven't gone that far. The only thing that I've done in terms of making my home smart is I have a secure security system, video security system with a closed loop, also on extra battery generator in case things go out. But I don't even really need that. And if I were to speak honestly for a second, when we were building this home, I just felt like it was important to create a very closed loop system, network system. And I thought that was really cool. And it took a lot of work to do that. But I don't really need it because, frankly, I'm not that big of a target. I'm not that important, let's be honest. And the other thing that I did was I bought a mesh net, a wireless net of sorts, so that my entire home could have a connectivity to the wireless system. But other than that, I haven't gone very far into the connected home, into the smart home. What about you guys? For those that are listening out there, let me know if you have a connected smart home and whether you update your firmware religiously, because, you probably should. You probably should.
Did you know that there's even more value than just audio or video? Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at VC Hunting, and make sure to sign up for the VC Hunting newsletter, where you'll be able to get weekly news on venture capital, startups, founder stories, and the occasional wisdom extracted from Peter's brain. Go to vchunting.com to sign up. And now, back to the episode.
Welcome back to Venture Daily, the fastest growing daily show in all of venture media. Make sure to connect with us on Tweeters at AgilePeter. We're always dropping a fun, original content, as well as you can stay up to date on what we're doing here on this new project of building a venture fund, which is exciting. You can also, if you'd like, you can join us and read everything that I'm reading on the Daily Hunt daily newsletter, which is dropped every Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to about 10 p.m. at night. So make sure that you find us over in these places. You can find all that in the show notes below, guys, in the show notes below. We're moving on to the final word for today, and today's final word is merely just going to be an encouragement. I was doing some early writing this morning. Usually I'm in terms of my schedule, I'm working out or immediately getting into the news game. But today was a different day. Today I decided to begin writing a little bit, and it's important for me to write because I have a book to finish. I need to finish this book. I think in many ways it's going to be a centerpiece for the value that I can provide to young founders and young entrepreneurs out there, and the entre-pro curious. If you're interested in growing or building a project or building a brand or building a hustle or a new idea. So I think in many ways, I have to finish this book because, it's, like I just said, it's going to be the centerpiece of a lot of the value that I provide as I begin to and I'm building the infrastructure and platform for my future venture fund, which I'm really enjoying. To be quite frank, I'm really enjoying communicating this reality out to the world. And while I was writing a chapter around the value of 1,000 fans and the value of 1,000 raving fans. And I've talked about this before. In today's internet economy, in today's internet world, you don't need to have millions of followers, users, customers, or even subscribers to be successful in terms of a monetary sense. Back in the day, about a decade ago, Kevin, I'm forgetting his last name, Kevin something, from Wired Magazine wrote a very powerful blog article on the power of 1,000 raving fans, and that you only need 1,000 raving fans who are willing to buy services or product or help from you. And that can equate to about, in his math, about $100,000 a year. Now, I was writing about this, and it's certainly true because I've done this before. In my previous startup that took me 9 years to build, in the next startup after that, which took us 14 months to get to profitability, my next startup after that, which took 9 months to get to profitability, and my current one. You need to merely attract those that are very similar to you, that appreciate the things that you appreciate. It doesn't matter what niche that you're in, what interests you have. There are thousands of people that appreciate that as well and want to find a community to share it with. If you have that idea, you merely need to begin communicating that idea out to the world on all the social media platforms that you can deal with, whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat, Pinterest, YouTube, whatever. You just need to begin talking about it. And when you begin talking to the world about the reality that you want, the dreams that you want, the things that you want to do, the things that you want to build, you will attract people that not only are interested in that, but potentially are interested in watching you do it and becoming a fan of you living out your dreams, because sometimes they just cannot. And so in today's inspiration on this Monday, guys, as we move into the week, consider, what are you talking about? What are you communicating that can attract people to you and could potentially help you in your journey, help you in your project, help you in your craft, help you in your skill that you're building, or can join you in very powerful ways? Guys, continue to be positive, continue to be upbeat, continue to think on great things, because great things are coming for you in this decade. I know they are for me. We just have to take those steps day by day by day. And for some of you guys who last this long on my daily podcast, my daily show here, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that you guys listen all the way to the end. Thanks again for being here, guys, on this wonderful journey together, and I'll see you tomorrow.